Hello everyone. I'm trying my best to do these when I normally would. Hopefully this one won't take too long to edit. On Sunday just gone, there was a second debate between Onision and Blaire White. Now, these two channels couldn't be more opposite if they tried. Onision does more sketches, more. He does a little bit of social commentary, but it's mainly sketches. And then Blaire White's more political. She does a lot of political stuff, she does a lot of social stuff. And they have different opinions on lots of things. I did the equivalent to this video after the last debate, where basically Onision was just raging. It was just completely raging, which is understand. Onision's one of those people that if it doesn't fit into his narrow concept of understanding, he doesn't get it and he rages against it. Hence why the Wednesday video happened, which was all the whole kink shaming and stuff. Anyway, this debate actually turned out to be a lot less volatile. There was a few stickling points, but it was a lot less volatile. And it surprised me a few times because he actually apologised for his treatment of Blaire, and the video he did where he called her a cunt multiple times. He apologised about the videos he did to Eugenia. He apologised for calling Shane fat. He didn't apologise for all the other stuff to do with Shane, but he apologised for calling him fat. He apologised for the whole Billy shit. He basically said she told me stuff in confidence and then I went and told everybody. And I shouldn't have done that. No shit, Sherlock. He admits now that he did wrong with the forum, that he should have vetted things a lot better than he actually did. He admitted that, and he admitted that it could have quite easily have been misconstrued what he was saying because of the way he went about things. He doesn't understand a lot of her videos. Now, I'm not saying that I understand or I agree with everything that anybody on the internet or anybody I watch does or says. That's not the point. You can watch two people with two opposing views and still enjoy their content, whether you agree with one of them wholeheartedly and one of them none at all. You have to be able to listen to other opinions for you not to be basically in this ball of nah, I can't hear you. And a lot of the time Greg comes across as that whole thing that if it doesn't fit in his bubble, it's no, you can't hear me. He laughed periodically, which really unsettles me. It creeped me out really bad, and he was like, because he basically took the piss out of her because last time she laughed the whole time. And this time he was laughing and it was like, it made me cringe. And he seemed to be completely ignorant of YouTube issues because he's still of the opinion that PewDiePie caused the whole first adpocalypse when he didn't. That was just literally the tip of a very large iceberg where there was videos being shown on, there was ads being shown on terrorism videos, there was ads being shown on videos where people are having the shit beaten out of them. That's what was the issue. And then what happened with PewDiePie is he did videos saying that the whole YouTube heroes thing would have been essentially like Nazis, and obviously he did a bit of a sketch to do with that, and then the sketch was taken out of context, as was a few other things. There was one bit where he was sorting the camera out like this, and obviously if you don't see what he's doing with his hand, you would automatically assume if you've got the narrative of he's a Nazi, that would fit your thing. And it's like, no, I'm not saying that PewDiePie is a brilliant comedian. I'm not saying that his jokes land all the time, because they don't. That's what it is like for most comedians. There are jokes that don't land. So, and he seemed completely oblivious to what's caused the subsequent apocalypses, including the whole issue that we've had with the polls. We've also had issues with, as being shown on videos to do with terrorist attacks, and he seems to be completely ignorant of the whole way YouTube is nowadays. He actually admitted he doesn't watch YouTube videos. It's like, so you're saying that you're ignorant of everything on YouTube. You don't watch other people's videos, but you upload and expect to stay relevant when you don't know what is currently relevant. He says he's had an epiphany where he's realised that some of the ways he's behaving over the last couple of years wasn't exactly the best. He's still trying to improve himself, and I don't know whether I trust him. Just putting it out there. He mentioned again the issue where he held a rifle, a gun of some kind, to his head in the military, so that they give him a discharge because he wasn't happy. So instead of saying, I'm not happy, etc., so on and so forth, he caused them, he triggered a series of events that caused them to essentially boot him out of the army. Now, he doesn't seem to understand mental illness, but he likes to use mental illness on a regular basis to get his own way. It's like, I know what depression's like, I know what being suicidal's like. So if you know what being suicidal's like, then why do you call out other people for being suicidal, for committing suicide? If you know what mental illness is like, why did you divorce one of your partners because she had depression? Why do a video about cutting when you know nothing about cutting? Anybody who knows anything about mental health or mental illness knows that cutting has nothing to do with suicide. Cutting has nothing to do with attention seeking. What it is everything else in your life is out of control, so you use some form of self-inflicted pain or something along those lines. You control something within your own body to exert some form of control. The whole cutting and eating disorder things sort of have the same root, but people go one of two different ways. One way, they control everything that they put into the body, so that they control what the body looks like. They can control how many calories they take in and how many calories they expend. With cutting, same thing, but when things start getting out of control, they cut the release of hormones that happen when you're in pain, makes them feel better. It's also a very similar reward system to when you get tattoos. It hurts a little bit, not that much, and I have 3, so I should know. And it's a reward thing where you get hooked on that rush of hormones and endorphins that you get when you experience pain. The scope between pain and pleasure, the similarities between the two we'll put it this way, they're right next to each other in the brain. The part of the brain that deals with pleasure and the part of the brain that deals with pain are very close, which is why a lot of people inflict pain to feel pleasure, which sort of also feeds into the whole cutting thing. And he still doesn't seem to understand that. He did say that when he did that video he went a little bit too hard in. But if you have depression, you don't seem to be able to understand the whole scope of depression, and that some people who are depressed will cut. Some people who are depressed will starve themselves. And he doesn't seem to have that in his head. Obviously, there was the sticking point between the two of them about non-binary. Blaire's of the opinion that there are only two genders, male and female, and that those that that want to call themselves trans but don't want to transition shouldn't call themselves trans. Then Onision's of the opinion, partially due to Lainey, that if people want to call themselves non-binary, then they are still technically trans, and you know they went back and forth about it. And Blaire has experience where people that she knew that were non-binary were of, trying to think of the right words, they were non-binary, and that they suffered no gender dysphoria or anything like that. So in their mind, they're not trans. And then Onision sort of countered that and said, well, what about there are some people that are non-binary that do have gender dysmorphia, and she's like, yeah, but there's the amount of people that don't compared to the amount of people that do, and it's the ones that don't that have the highest, you know, that have the loudest voices. And you know, I mean, that was sort of a sticking point, because they both have different life experiences, and they both have different opinions and different experiences in general with relation to gender, which is fine, and people can disagree. And he was actually quite respectful, again, which is a shock. Let me just check. And he seems to have realised it's a bit of an asshole, because he actually said, yeah, I can be a bit of an asshole. He didn't exactly say those words, he said, yeah, I can be a bit nasty and I can go off the handle a little bit, which most of us can. I've done it in the past. I don't, as I've said before, I don't know whether I trust this. I don't know whether he's saying this so that people will forgive him, go back to his channel, and then in a couple of months he'll start again. Because whenever he does anything like this, where he apologises to people, within a couple of months he's back to attacking them again. He still refuses to admit that he was wrong about Shane. He's actually said that there's other stuff that people are unaware of that he doesn't want to talk about because Shane wasn't there to defend himself. Obviously, Blaire's met Shane, she knows Shane, so she's got more of a view of she knows Shane. She's not friends with Shane, but she knows Shane. Now, is this true? I don't think so. I think that because Shane is so popular and he is so big, I think Greg's a little jealous, or should I say a lot jealous, because you've got people like Shane, and you've got people like Philip DeFranco, and quite a few of the OG YouTubers like Superwoman and a few others, Grace, Hannah, Memory, that are doing extremely well. Jenna is another one. They're doing extremely well, and they get views. Every video Jenna does, without a doubt, without a question, gets like 1 million views. Phil, at least 1.5 million views. Greg is lucky if he gets 100,000. And I think a lot of it is jealousy, because Shane can still pull in those numbers. Shane can still pull in those people to watch him. And it's like, yeah, he's had kids in his videos, but the families of those kids have been in the videos with them. He's not the type of person. If I had a chat and I met Shane and I needed to nip to the shops for 2 minutes, I wouldn't question leaving my child with him. I'd question leaving my child with Onision, and that's saying something considering Shane's not a father but Onision is. I wouldn't be anywhere near Onision anyway, but still, it's the fact that he says he knows things about Shane, but he doesn't want to say what they are, which basically means a lot of bullshit. And I don't believe a word that comes out of Greg's mouth. I never do. But I don't trust this at all. He's apologised to Jacqueline, fine. He's apologised to Blaire, fine. He's apologised to Eugenia, fine. He's apologised to Billy, fine. He didn't apologise to Sam. He didn't apologise to Sky. He didn't apologise to Shyla. He hasn't apologised to the people that he's hurt. He's only apologised to a small group of people. And the amount of damage he's done, not only to people but to the platform as a whole, there's a reason why he's one of the most hated people on YouTube. Because he's a dick. And he's one of the worst dicks on YouTube. And I really don't trust him. He didn't address much about the issues that he has with women, with regards to how he handles relationships, how he handles being with women, how he handles his wife who's non-binary, and he doesn't explain the way he talks to people and the insane videos that he does where it literally looks like he's having a mental breakdown. But then in the next video it's as calm as anything, and we all know he's a good actor and refuses to go to Hollywood, and then wonders why he's starved what it's like, because most of the people in America that are YouTubers either live in LA or New York, and he's in Washington State, which really, in the scope of being in America, really couldn't be that much further away. The only further away it could be is Alaska, you know. Close to Alaska, you know, very close to Alaska. So it's one of those things that you don't have... He's very much in his own bubble. He doesn't understand why people don't like him. He doesn't understand why people don't trust him. But yeah, I really don't trust him. And I don't trust this because it's happened before. And it'll happen again. Where he'll say, oh, I'm sorry, and then people will forgive him. And then he'll start again. And it's like the amount of shit he puts out about people when he shouldn't be putting that shit out about people. He's... Anyway, I'm gonna edit this and get this up tonight because it's Friday. Hubby's doing fine, by the way. He's downstairs at the minute. He's gonna come up once I finish recording. We've had a busy day. We've been into town, which was his first time into town after the op, so that was a good thing. He's doing well. But yeah, social media and all that is down in the description. I haven't been on Twitch that much this week because I've been a bit knackered. Because he's getting better, I can start pulling back a bit, so the exhaustion started to kick in. So I've already had like a 6-hour nap today. Oh god, it's terrible. It's when you're only sleeping like 4 or 5 hours a night. It's exhausting. Anyway, I think it's going. Stay safe, be good, have fun. See you soon. Bye.